Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Philippi. My guest today is Donna Gentry, who's directing a new play called Love Letters from Chehalem Players Repertory in Newburgh. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you could come and talk to us about this. It's opening this weekend.
It is indeed. We open Friday at 7 p.m. at the Masonic Lodge in Newburgh.
So when we say Friday, we should say Friday the 6th.
Friday the 6th.
Okay, so perfect. And it will run through?
February 22nd.
Fabulous. And let's talk about the venue first.
Yes. Originally, if you've seen some advertisements or some promotional materials out there, they may say the Cultural Center, which is just around the corner. It's just across the street.
Really?
So it's the Cultural District. And because of some issues with the black box not being ready yet, we just moved right across the street to the Masonic Lodge. So
Which is perfect. I mean, it's nice that it's so convenient and can accommodate you.
Yes, and it was great of them. So made a phone call. Rick Fieldhouse said, come on down, so that's where we are. And we were just there with our town, so
right,
it's great to be back there.
Perfect. And so then it'll be, what, is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday and Saturday nights. We go on at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Doors open at 6:30, and on Sundays we're at 2 p.m. and doors open at 1:30.
So you're kind of like a little earlier curtain.
Yes.
Which is nice, though, because people get out at...
You
can have go have a drink.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. An early drink, actually.
So you're directing. Tell me about the play.
The play is wonderful. Love Letters is written by A.R. Gurney, and it just had a revival on Broadway. And it's the story of Melissa Gardner and Andy Makepeace Ladd III. And she's real bohemian, crazy, inappropriate, somewhat of an alcoholic. And he is... well, she likes the Kickapoo Joy Juice, let's put it that way.
I like it.
And he is very buttoned down, always does the right thing kind of guy. So they're polar opposites, but they have a correspondence that spans 50 years. And so you listen to their letters, the audience hears their letters that they write to one another about their victories, their defeats, their careers, their wants, their desires, their loves. And, you know, you get to find out whether or not, you know, their relationship blossoms or not.
So is it staged where one's on one side of the stage and one on the other, kind of back to back, reading it like that? Or?
It's really wonderful. There's literally a desk on stage, and they are literally sitting there reading the letters together. And on Broadway, they had a rotating cast of stars, and so we are doing the same thing in Newburgh. We have a rotating cast of stars.
You do? So what do you mean by that?
So we have Jim and Karen Halliday are performing for the first 2 weekends, and then my husband and I are performing the third weekend.
Wow.
So real-life married couples are performing this. So that gives it that added piece of real-life love.
Yeah,
love letters.
I think, and do they ever meet in real life? I mean, in the beginning or at all?
They know each other. I mean,
Okay.
these two people know each other in life, in the story.
Okay.
And when Gurney wrote it, someone had given him a computer, and so he started playing with this computer back in 1988.
Oh God.
And yeah, exactly. And he didn't know what to do on the computer, so these letters just started pouring out of him, and they're wonderful. And it's so well written that as a director, I had very little to do, actually, because there's such a beautiful arc to the storyline. It's unbelievable. It's really sweet story. And there's no intermission. It just starts and it tells their story. And you follow them, and you're in love with the two of them. I mean, as an audience, truly, it's a beautiful story.
That's wonderful.
And it was nominated for the Pulitzer for drama. So it's really, really beautifully written. The words are gorgeous. And it's funny. It's really funny. It's not all, you know, gooey love. There are lots and lots of humorous parts to it.
But primarily they're mostly sitting, so it's not like a lot of getting up and...
Oh, there's no movement whatsoever. They don't even look at each other.
Okay.
So the two actors are sitting side by side reading these letters, and they started, actually, I think they start in 1937, so you really get to see this
Do they
arc of
change
time.
Costumes? No.
Nothing. They sit at the desk and they read
I
the
love
letters.
it. That's very
Isn't that great?
cool.
Yeah.
Really, because it's all about... It's all
the
about
words.
the words.
It's
Yeah.
the words, yes, completely, yeah. And so on Broadway, they had Alan Alda, Carol Burnett, Candice Bergen, Mia Farrow, Brian
Woody
Dennehy.
Allen,
No, no. That would have been interesting. So it's, and Jim and Karen are also married in real life, so that's pretty great.
Wow. So what was it like to direct this?
This was such a piece of cake. I think that it was so easy. I tried to make it harder for myself. So I tried, giving some direction, and then I had an epiphany. I suddenly realized I just leave it alone. It's just about the words. And so it really became more about, well, how can we make the set the most comfortable for them,
Sure.
and more about how's the audience going to be comfortable. And, moving from one location to another, we got our challenges in other ways.
Right.
The script was so perfect. It was so easy to direct.
Well, and it's so nice that obviously, yes, the set is very simple. It's not something that you have to say, oh my God, where are we going to put that now?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh, perfect.
And what happened is Jim and Karen worked together before when CPR did an empty plate in the Café du Grand Bouffe. We did that last February.
Right.
And they also played lovers in that show. And so at the end of one of the performances, David Beck came up to me and he said, you have to look into Love Letters with Jim and Karen.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, it was a done deal. It was great.
That's how you came to it. Because what were you thinking of doing? Did you?
Well, I had some other stuff on the burner, but the minute I picked it up, I knew that I needed to get that the minute that David Beck recommended it.
Sure.
So, because he's on the board of Willamette Shakespeare, and I knew him. But yeah, so the minute I picked it up, done deal. So I got on the phone to them immediately and said, I would love for you to do. Seriously, it was almost immediate.
So I guess I'd ask you this: with Jim and Karen as a married couple, playing off of each other. And how is it different when you and your husband do it? Do you see differences? Do you feel differences?
Oh, yes, very much so. And every actor brings their own personality to the reading. For Karen and I are very different. She's much more soft-spoken, and I'm a lot more like Melissa. I'm inappropriate and much more loud. Yeah, I'm louder and out there and.
In other words, a festive, fabulous person.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would say if I was going to make a comparison for, Karen's more akin to Mia Farrow, if you were going to look at the folks that are on Broadway, and I'm more akin to the Carol Burnett kind of person.
I like
right?
it, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so, I've got lots of Melissa Gardner qualities already. So yeah, and when the two of us read it, it's very, very different. So I would suggest that people come see it twice.
Really, kind of in a way. It's not to say that it's two completely different shows, but in a way, it's pretty different because you're going to come away with a flavor of the actors.
The actors, their stamp that they put on it, definitely.
Now, what about the men? Because I'm assuming that so it's the man is reading. Is he reading the letter he writes, or is he reading the letter from her?
No, they're reading the letters that they write.
Okay.
So it's like they are composing letters.
Okay. So he's writing, "Dear
his
Melissa,"
letter to her.
Da 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 da,
Yeah.
in his own dry, conservative, button-down way.
Yes.
And then she's reading the letter that she writes back to him. Okay, I see.
And he loves writing letters. He loves writing
because he can
long
control everything.
letters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sort of wordy and interesting.
Yeah. So, but the following their lives and how their lives take twists and turns and how they differ and the choices that they make in their lives is what makes it such a fascinating and rich story.
This is kind of funny, but one of the books that I really loved reading, it was called "And Ladies of the Club." Do you know that book?
I don't.
Well, I don't even know who wrote it, but it covered like 50 years of a women's group book club in a small town from the turn of the last century on up, and it was so interesting because it would talk about what was happening in between, but then it was always the book group.
Oh, right.
And month by month, year by year, marriages, children, deaths, births, all of it, and it was just so fascinating. And you think, these days people tend to not do that anymore. Not chronicle. A blog is not really the same.
It is not.
Because I think when people blog, you're writing for this sort of anonymous out there audience, and you're trying to be entertaining and engaging and funny. But when you're writing to a person, it's from the heart.
And he even goes into, it's all longhand. And he even goes, Andy goes into an explanation where he says, I could use a typewriter and I could use carbon paper, but I choose to write to you longhand. And he even has a Parker 51 pen that he uses. And so this is it's a ritual, and it's a very specific act, these letters and the way that they're written to one another and how they how they correspond. So this is not texting, this is not email, this is nothing like that.
This is not an emoticon.
Yeah, it is not an emoticon.
Thumbs up and a smiley face.
Yeah, and I have enough trouble texting as it is. I'm always getting autocorrect, and I have enough mistakes with that. So I would almost prefer, it's been great doing this, because I would almost prefer to go back to longhand sometimes.
So now here's a question. Since the whole thing is correspondence, do you actually have to memorize every line of this play?
No, the other beautiful thing about this
You're reading
for the
letters.
actors is that you're reading letters. And so we have binders on stage, and then we have retyped the script so that the actors actually turn the pages at the same
nice,
time.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
great.
that we're in sync. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's got the 1, 2, 3 turn.
Yes, exactly. It's very well choreographed.
I love it.
It's
See,
nice.
that's the exquisite direction.
Yes. And Gertie actually gives a lot of direction.
Really?
Yes, because it's done, I think it's been done in 100 languages. And
Oh,
it's
my
been
heavens,
done,
okay.
Yeah, and it's been done all over the world.
Well, really, you know what? This is the kind of thing that does translate, because everybody on earth can relate to,
Completely.
you know,
And I
communicating
did,
with
I
another
wanted to
person.
do love letters, and I was just so grateful that it was portable, that it
yeah.
was, that it was easy to put up, that, you know, and so the fact that we weren't able to be at the cultural center, that we were moved over to the lodge, easy peasy, picked up,
And
went
the
across
cast
street,
party,
okay.
I mean, it's not very expensive. You can go to a really nice restaurant.
That's it. That's exactly right. And that's exactly what we told Jim and Karen. Best cast party ever. Nicest restaurant. Wherever we want to go, we'll go. It's
where do
gonna
the
be
four of
great.
us want to go have dinner? Of course. Wow.
Painted Lady, Nick's. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
of course, yeah. So anyway, let's go over the dates and times again.
Sure. So we are at the Masonic Lodge, Newburgh.
Mm-hmm.
We are, and I'll give you actually another little piece of information in just a second. So February 6th we open, which is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
February 6th and 7th, Friday, Friday and Saturday nights, 7 p.m. Sunday afternoons at 2. And then there's a special little something in there because there's an event happening at the Masonic Lodge on the 21st of February.
Which is
we
a
are running
Saturday,
through
right.
the 22nd because there's a special event happening. We will be upstairs in the lodge room.
Oh, how fun.
Which is really interesting.
That'll be cool.
We're fun, excited
So
about being
this,
there.
obviously, you're going to be on Valentine's Day. This would be a great.
Perfect show for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah,
If
very
you really,
romantic.
really want to score points with your loved one or the person that you want to put an arrow right through their heart, this is the show you want to come
I
to.
love it. That's
And
great.
then something just to make my life more interesting. So Friday and Saturday nights at 7 p.m., Sundays at 2. On the 22nd, we have a matinee at 2 p.m. Then we close up shop at 3:30. We put on ball gowns and we put on black ties and we walk across the street to the Cultural Center because we're hosting an Oscar party. So
Oh,
the
that's gonna
Cultural
be really
Center,
fun.
Lewis Audio Video, and
Oh, my
CPR,
goodness.
and we're doing a big Oscar party with a live feed, MCs.
Oh,
We have
fun.
live Oscar statues out front,
Wow.
limo, red carpet. And
Now, can people come to that? event?
Oh, yes.
So-
Tickets are
all right.
online at our website, www.chehalenplayersrep.org. And for a single, it's $65. For a couple, it's $100.
that's
And there's
fabulous.
champagne will be flowing, and it's catered, and it's going to be
Oh
quite
my
the
gosh,
affair.
Donna, how fun. So Donna Gentry, and you're big in Newburgh, shall we say. Yeah, a mover and shaker. Really, I thank you very much for being here. And
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me. I
best
can't thank
wishes.
you enough.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks. Okay.